That's weird. So, in Age of Empires 2, almost all ranged units fire in an arch. This is really smart game design because it ensures that your units always hit what you want them to. Well, most of the time, because very rarely units are 100% accurate on their own. Contrast that with Return of Rome units, who fire in a straight line. Today I want to see if this behavior affects anything and whether you could use it to your advantage. Before we begin, I want to confirm something many of you probably knew from the beginning. All of Roar archers are 100% accurate, no exceptions. We can verify that by using Genie editor and seeing that their accuracy value is always 100. This whole concept of missing is alien to them. I guess back in the day they truly were better than today, Hugh. Arrows flying straight has some really interesting implications though. What happens if they shoot but their target dies midway through the arrow's flight? That is actually a really important mechanic because it would determine how big of a deal overkill it is. Logically, it would make sense that an arrow would just fly past the corpse and hit the target behind it, therefore not wasting any damage. In this test, we have two composite bowmen and a villager with 1 HP. Both bowmen will fire at them, so that first arrow kills the wounded one, and the second arrow we would expect to hit the second villager, since nothing would be obstructing its way anymore. So let's give it a shot. Oh. Well, that's a shame. However, the second arrow did land a bit after the corpse. Maybe it has reduced trajectory to somewhere closer to its target. I wonder if it does any damage if something is close enough to be hit by it. Let's run a second test, where we have a few bunched up vills very close together. We also have a group of bowmen who definitely kill the vill they are aiming at, meaning that the rest of the arrows is bound to hit something, right? Well, disappointingly, no. We can clearly see that only one villager is being damaged at a time, and missed arrows simply land on the ground. So far it looks like the arrow on the ground is just for show, but that's not the only way you can miss a shot, right? Your target can also just move out of the way, like we see in this test. Until you research ballistics, it would be really hard for archers to hit moving targets from long range. Testing it with villagers behind the wall, we can clearly see that they aren't hurt in any way, which confirms that the arrow on the ground are just not real. So what does this really imply? The arrows will only do damage to intended target, which does make sense in a way. You wouldn't want the front line to always soak up the arrows if you fired at something behind it. That does, however, has a big drawback in the form of an overkill. Overkill refers to dealing more than necessary amounts of damage to the unit that would have been dead anyway had he been dealt a smaller amount. An example of this is Ballista attacking a villager. Ballista has 40 damage and the villager has just 25 HP. If we attack the villager, we would be wasting 15 damage on basically nothing. We can see the effect of overkill in archer fights on larger scale. Since the arrows don't continue to do damage after the target is already dead, it's basically being thrown away. If we micro our archers to always focus fire enemy units, we would be wasting a ton of damage to the point that our enemy wins by attacking random units. That's because they distribute damage more evenly among our troops, wasting almost nothing. Now I was showing all of these tests with composite bowmen, but there is a unit that's being hurt way more by all of the above mentioned factors, and that's Ballista. Its incredibly high attack means it's very prominent to overkill. Here I set up a simple fight. I will micro the blue team and the red team will just fire on their own. As you can see, I waste so much damage by focus firing that red player just steamrolls me. If there is any takeaway from this video is that you really should just patrol Ballista into enemy units and not try to focus fire with them, unless it's a really tanky unit like Cataphract or War Elephant. Also, just like with bowmen, missed ballista shots don't do any damage, so you want to prioritize getting ballistics as soon as possible. Ballistics on its own also has some funky moments, so we might explore it in some video down the line as well. And that would be it for today's video. I hope I confirmed these things you might have found suspicious in this game, or maybe you learned something entirely new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you around in the next video.